Good evening, everyone out there in the Poetry Corner universe. Welcome to another edition of Poetry Corner Eastside Connection. What we talking about tonight? Marriages, divorce, and breakups. I have my co-host here, Poetic, Van Meadows, and our two lovely guests, Carmen and Sister Monet. So, hey, I'm gonna pass it on to you, Poe. Let it be heard with the words.
Amen. First of all, thank y'all for tuning in. Ladies, thank you for joining us for such a enthralling topic. It's going to clearly be one that hopefully will heal some. It just might break others. It just depends on where you are in this process because fiancés, marriages, breakups, divorce. Hey, man, listen, we fitting to go there tonight. So I hope you don't have any trigger warnings because we fitting to press all those trigger buttons tonight. Don't you click off. Don't you turn off. Don't you do it. Just sit through it and let's rock out.
Yeah. And any of y'all listening in the chat, please voice your opinion. We would love for you to engage in this conversation. And click like and subscribe to the channel for those notifications.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
man,
where we want to go?
Man, I mean, you know what? I think before we go into the topic, maybe we should give a little bit of context to our journeys. Right? Okay. I've been a fiance 3 times. I've been a husband twice. I've been divorced twice. So I think I can add a little bit to the conversation. Sister Monet, what about you?
I've been a fiance once. I am actually going through a divorce right now. And I am here to learn. I am here to heal. And I am here to also educate. That's me.
Nice.
All right.
Nice.
Carmen?
I have been engaged once, get engaged to once. I've been married once, and I am divorced. And the process for me has taught me a lot because I was young when I got married. So being older, looking back on reasonings for getting married, like I know now why. So I grew from that. I let it go. I let go of a lot of the hurt, and it's healing. It's healing.
Awesome.
That's what's up.
King, what about you, my brother?
Oh, you want me to speak? No, I'm just playing. Well, I'm a 2-time divorcee. Was engaged twice. You know what I mean? So I had to turn my back on that offset energy twice. And I'm out here living my life non-traditionally. You know what I mean? With no expectations on the table. I'll just walk into the unknown and know what I'm looking at. If that make any sense. But it does to me though.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
so what I'm hearing through all of what we've all just said is that we have some experience in the game, right? As we were chatting earlier, the whole process of becoming a fiance, it should be an exciting time. It should be, something to be admonished by. My fiance this, my fiance that. Before you get to the next steps of matrimony, let it be known that marriage, the tradition of marriage, is so that you can make a proclamation before God and before your family and your friends that this is your person. This is whom you're going to spend the rest of your life with. But somewhere along those lines, we forget those parts till death do us part.
Yeah.
Right? We forget that. And anybody that's been married before or who is even thinking about marriage, you have to understand that marriage is work. All the stuff that you do leading up to that point is all pretty. It's all wonderful. It makes you all giddy. But until you got to realize that you got to wake up to this person for however many years to come. good,
Thanks.
bad, ugly, and indifferent. Y'all made that proclamation to each other. Now the problem is, my two problems when it comes to not just marriages, but relationships in general: selfishness and communication. If you can solve those two things within your relationship, baby, I ain't going nowhere. You ain't going nowhere. Because we're going to be selfless for each other, and we're going to communicate about everything. Baby, you got a headache today? Why? What happened? Why do you feel this way? Baby, I don't know. I just woke up that way. Okay, what can we do to help? You need me to massage your temples? Right?
That's that CC, compassion and care. You know what I mean? And just to answer the person in the chat, when I say about no expectations, mean we're already conversating about things and everything is going organically. Why should I say, oh, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that? Just do it. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. I just do things non-traditionally. Like people depend on Valentine's Day. I can get you that anytime. Why'd you get me flowers? Because I care and love you. And I know that you was having a hard time in the office or you just was going through it. So get you your favorite. I found out what your favorite things is and I cater to that.
Yeah.
You know? And that's me showing my admiration and love for you. You know what I mean? So that's why I said no expectations, non-traditional. You know what I mean? Let you love and care on that.
That also takes time. You take a time to study your mate, your partner. Because you best believe I am looking at an open book exam every time we connect. Because I need to know what you like, what you don't like, because I want to make sure that every aspect of our togetherness is going to be good for you. And even if it's bad, I need to figure out a way whether or not if I can solve it, or better yet, baby, let me just be here. Let me just let you open up. Go ahead, baby. Get it off your chest. You don't need me to be a fixer.
Right.
You need me to be a listener. So I'm here to listen. Whatever you want to unload, I'm here to listen. Go ahead, baby. Unload. You know what I'm saying?
So, ladies, don't fight over the screen.
Hey, don't let us.
No,
hold on.
I'm over here listening because in the midst of hence the pen. As I'm listening, I'm writing down because you said the 2 C's. And as I'm listening to Poetic talk, I'm like, well, what about consistency and compromise? Like you bringing up the 2 C's, but the compromise on what though?
Compromise. I feel like when you compromise, you must be a student of the game called love. You know what I mean? Because somebody could just compromise and be like, all right, babe, I'll do this. And then do they really mean it? Are they sincere? Is this sincerity coming from that place? Anybody can compromise, but that's why I said the compassion and the care. That tells a whole big story. Because I feel like a woman will feel it. She'll know it. That he's very compassionate about that. You know, he didn't just do it just because. He did it because he loved me and he cared about me. You know, I didn't have to ask for too much.
Right. You know,
in my retrospect. You know what I mean?
Right. For me, compromise actually falls under being selfless. Because if I'm unable to compromise on something that you want or something that you want to do, that means that I'm being selfish. But if I'm able to compromise, and the reality is in any relationship, there has to be a compromise because you're not going to agree all the time. The key is who's willing to yield? Who's willing to yield? It's not, our relationship should not be a competition.
Okay.
I should not have to compete with you for a right or wrong position. I should be able to yield, let you have your position, because one thing's for certain, one of us is going to be right and one of us is going to be wrong. And when that moment happens, it's not about pointing the finger at the other person. See, babe, I told you I was right. I know. You know what, babe? It's all good. It's all good. We figuring this out as we go along. I don't want to point fingers at you. I don't want to look down upon you. Matter of fact, I wanna figure out how can we grow from this point to be better for the next time, so we can compromise, so one of us can yield.
So can I say something?
Of course.
So I'm born and raised in the church. So the first thing we hear about marriage is you must submit, and that's why I was talking about the compromise, because being raised in the church and understanding that the Bible says the wife is supposed to be submissive to the husband.
Absolutely.
I think there's a lot of folks that just focus on that one part of the scripture. The rest of the scripture talks about how the husband is supposed to honor the wife, and nobody really leans heavily on that. So with all that being said, I have a whole nother C, communication. And like, King was talking about, just doing something just out of the blue and just honoring. Like there's some pastors that I have seen that honor their wife. They really, I would not be the man today, not taking anything away from God, but I wouldn't be the man I am today if I didn't have my first lady or if I didn't have the mother. But then there's some pastors that's just like, it's all me and God. There's no accolades, there's no love, there's no consistency or like no reverence to the wife.
Yeah.
So
that scripture actually says to honor the wife as thy weaker vessel.
Mm-hmm.
Thy weaker vessel. And see, that position means that even though I have to honor her as the weaker vessel, I need to place her, because it also talks about we need to present her faultless and blameless for God. So when I say yielding to her position, because we as men, sometimes we get it wrong. And there is a reason why women know things before we know it.
Because that intuition.
Hold on. Oh, baby. Oh, that woman likes you. Yeah, that woman don't like me. She don't even care pay too much attention to me. Before long, that woman is offering you her phone number. If you and your wife not okay, you can talk to me. Honoring and yielding to her as the weaker vessel, allowing her place to be seen. Carmen, you awfully quiet, baby. You letting us do it.
Because I have
been holding quiet.
It's open, Carmen.
I know, but I just don't want to cut anybody off. Two things real quick. So one C that I have for me is counseling, marriage counseling, because I'm talking about before they get married, because you're in a church, you grow up in a church, and it's the thing. It's the thing to do. Everybody want to, you want to get married because you want to do the right thing, but you don't have those. Unfortunately, sometimes you're not taught how to be a wife or how to be a husband, or the rawness of it, the realness of it all. Because from the outside looking in, it can look beautiful, but you don't know on the inside it's way different. Two different perspectives, many different viewpoints from the woman and from the male's perspective. But I feel like counseling is very important.
Absolutely.
Guidance is important.
That's true.
And as far as expectations, no. If you have expectations, you're going to be disappointed. That's my opinion.
Man, listen. You can't have expectations, and I tell you why.
Okay.
Man will break down your expectation every single time. That's why I don't have expectations. I expect you to be exactly who you are, exactly what you say you are. But when it comes to the whole relationship, I'm not expecting anything, because I've learned.
Yeah.
If I expect, I will be divorced.
That part.
I have 2 divorce decrees to prove that.
No longer be us.
Because I had an expectation.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you something. I turned a blind eye to a lot of things. That I usually would not turn a blind eye to. Why? Because I had expectations that she was going to do right. Why? Because I was doing right? Of course. That was my expectation. You took the same vows that I took. Why would I not have an expectation? But we're two different people.
Yeah.
We walk two different paths.
Yeah.
And I promise you, if within that marriage dynamic, if you never walk together, you will always walk apart. And unfortunately, it will be down that road of divorce.
Hey, I feel you on that. I had to start looking at homegirl with the third eye. No, I'm serious. It was just everything was the third eye. And then I started seeing things.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That she didn't really see. But even when the conversations came about, it was like we go out to eat and then have a conversation. You know what I mean? So we put everything out there. You know what I'm saying? There was no compromise. We were just saying, like, we just put it out there. No argument or nothing. It was just like we speak about things. I say, yeah, I hear you. I'll say things. She'd be like, well, I didn't really realize that. I'm like, well, this is what it is. I said, I hear where you're coming from, but do you hear where I'm coming from? Yes. We get back home, have another conversation. So we better understand one another. But she was watching and I was watching.
Let me
show and prove.
Let me ask this question.
Excuse me.
We talked about counseling, right? One thing that I know as a black man, I was so against counseling. I was against counseling with anyone. And I kind of felt like if we love God and we walk with God, isn't God our ultimate counselor?
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's why I was against counseling. But and premarital counseling will pull some stuff out that you did not even know was there.
Wow.
Ooh, man.
Break the whole smoke screen mirrors.
Man, you'd be like, what? You go to counseling today. Y'all plan to get married in 90 days. Y'all like, we need to push this date back a little bit more. Because we ain't ready.
Yeah.
And the whole thing about counseling, though, is we have to be honest in counseling. That's why I always recommend, if you're going to do counseling, find not your church home. That's traditional. I'm going to go to my pastor, first lady, we're going to do counseling. Find somebody outside of your church home that you're going to be comfortable, well, not necessarily comfortable, but because they don't know you, you would be willing to open up because they don't know you.
Okay.
Because if they know you, then there's this preconceived notion, well, I can't divulge all of the truth because they know me. But with somebody who's completely neutral, you can unload. Sit on that couch, unload. And when me and my previous wife, I'm not gonna say which one, but when we went to counseling to try to save the marriage, I sat there like, what are we doing? Why are we here? Because she had already had it in her mind that she was walking away, no matter what counseling said. That's why I say you have to be honest. You have to be honest. And you can't expect 5 or 6 counseling sessions to change your whole marriage that's been messed up for 10, 20 years. It ain't going to happen. It's not going to happen. That's an unrealistic expectation.
Yeah. And see, I did premarital counseling. I started off at my family church, not the counseling. I actually had a conversation with, I refer to him as my uncle, Uncle Bishop, that's what I call him. And I went to him out of respect and he said, yeah, I think you should go somewhere else for the simple fact that, number one, you're my niece. So it would look biased. So I went to another church and I actually had to learn that pastor myself because while I associated, I didn't really know him and he didn't really know me. So it helped tremendously, even with the little spats. We had tasks that we had to do. We had to come up with our 10 commandments. We had to come up with like non-negotiables. So it was a lot of work that we had to do to get to the point where we were. But like we spoke previously before we went live, the person that I'm separating that I have separated from is not the person that I went through that premarital counseling with, that I married. And the trajectory of it all, I take ownership in the part of a portion of the demise of the marriage. I can't take full ownership. I truly can't, because it took two to be a union.
Right.
But with all that being said, when things started to get rocky, I then went to a totally different counselor, somebody that's not even in the state that I reside in, and started to engage in telehealth before the pandemic even transpired. And it was very eye-opening. And as time went on, there were, I would refer to as adult temper tantrums that transpired. And there was a lot of literally putting that flashlight on self.
Yeah.
And just understanding, okay, you need to work on this. You need to work on this. You need to work on it. And the more I worked, the quieter I got. And I withdrew into myself and just acknowledged, okay, like Carmen said, I never really sat and thought about, why did I marry this person? Other than the fact of, that person was my refuge. That was my dude. And as time went on, I was just like, I'm Deborah Cox over here. Like, there's a stranger in my house. I don't know who you are, bro. Like, you gotta go. Well, but go ahead, Carm. I see you.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. No, listen, because my mindset is kind of changing a little bit, because, no, people are who they are in the very beginning. Perhaps we just don't see it. And it is what it is. They are who they are. Period. People show you. So if the stranger is in your house, maybe it's because you elevated. You know, you have anything that's not growing is dying. We're supposed to change. Yes. We're supposed to grow. So growing together is the mission, though. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it doesn't work out that way.
Yes.
And once you understand that, then I don't know. It's easier. It's easier to deal with your own emotions about things.
Because, like I said, I did my work. Yeah, we didn't do the work. I did the work. So as I did the work, like you said, there was that evolution of one and not the other.
You know, it's funny because one of my lives I was separated from for almost 2 years, right? 2 years. We were very, very present in church, very involved in several ministries in church. So for the church, it looked bad. It looked bad. You have these two married people who were not together in your church. So I get a call from the minister. He says, "Hey, Brother Van, can I get you and Sister so and so together for a counseling session so we can decide where we're going to go?" Sure. Why not? I'm curious to see what she would have to say after 2 years of separation. I'm curious. Mind you, there's no communication. There's no talking back and forth. There's none of that. None of that. We get there. We're sitting down. His question was very direct. Sister so-and-so, do you still want to be married to Brother Van? Emphatically, she said, "I don't know." Oh. That was my expression. What? You don't know? Woman, I don't even know you right now. It's been 2 years. I do not know you. I don't know where you've been, what you've been doing. I don't know you. So how you gonna sit here and say after 2 years that you don't know if you want to be married to me? I said, "Minister so-and-so, let me go ahead and answer the question for you. I do not." I said, because in those 2 years time frame, there's not been a single ounce of communication, anything to make me even want to think that this marriage should continue. But if she's worried about her image in church, I will be more than glad to be the fall guy here and say, yes, I want the divorce. I'm not going to stay married to somebody who doesn't want to be married to me. You don't know. If you wanted to be married to me, that should have been a yes. No, I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
And do you know what he said to me? You know what he said to me? Well, Brother Van, since you're making the decision of divorce, then we're going to have to bring you up before the church. I said, sir, that's not even necessary. I revoke my membership to this church effective immediately.
Wow.
Well, why are you doing that? I said, I'm saving you and the church the embarrassment of having to say that your members are divorcing. I am not the greatest communicator, but I believe heavily in communication. We're going to be bad at communication together, but we're at least going to communicate. 2 years you not talking to me? Not even wanting to go out on a date with me? If I ask you, can we go out on a date? You say no. Well, you set it up and I set it up. Oh, I got to work. It only takes one time for me to ask you out and you tell me no. Even as my wife. So in case you haven't noticed, we have gotten to the breakup part of the show. Yeah.
That's funny because I was literally sitting here looking at a poem called The Menu of an Unhealthy Relationship as you were talking.
Things could be shaky, flaky out there. You know what I'm saying? Like,
listen.
You gotta see and get that letter from the Postmaster General.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You know what? And
you can see the signs sometimes, though. You know what I mean?
You can.
And sometimes it could be camouflaged.
I want to be very clear. I love marriage. I love it. Like, I wish I was still married, except I wish I was married to someone who wanted to be as married to me as I was to them.
Commitment.
I got a question.
I don't mind coming home to my woman, the same woman, every single solitary day as my wife. Baby, I missed you. You missed me. Okay, great. I don't mind us fighting through the trenches for us to get to a single point in time because we're fighting to get there together. So, Monet, what's your question?
So understanding I'm the baby in this situation. How old were you guys? I know I'm the baby for once. I can claim that.
Oh, I'm an old head?
No, I'm saying in y'all experience, like I'm still in the process. So my question that I was going to pose was, how old were you guys when you went through your first divorce? And how did it truly affect you going into your next relationship?
Well, my first divorce, I got married to my first wife when I was 27 years old, 27 to be exact. We actually managed to last married for 8 years. After that 8-year span was done and over, the divorce was final, I was already ready to get married again. Because you're not going to have me out here operating like you have nothing to do with me, don't want anything to do with me, put on the front like you want to have everything to do with me. Then I got married again at 32, 33 years old, and just recently divorced as of 5 years ago.
I was divorced at 38 from the first marriage. You know what I mean? Then the second one was 46, 7, something like that. I got the tendency to kind of erase things and leave it over there. You know what I mean? So sorry about the timestamp and everything like that, but no, but I'll tell you what though, even when I got married the second time, no, everything was cool. Everything was fly, communication and everything.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We do things together and we still came as one. So it was like we was joined at the hip. You know what I mean? But not overshadowing each other. You know what I mean? But sometimes things don't last. You start seeing what you see. You know what I mean? And sometimes you there for reasons, reasons and seasons, either one. But you know, I enjoyed being married though. You know what I mean? There was a lot of good times than bad times though. You know what I'm saying? So I ain't got nothing bad to speak on, honey. You know what I'm saying? But you know,
it's coming.
I was 19.
Stephanie Mills joined. Maybe next time. You know what I mean?
I was 19 when I got married, fresh out of high school. And I was just an immediate mother, you know what I'm saying? And then I got divorced, I think. I blocked it out too. So it doesn't seem like it was that long. I don't remember. Like, it's so crazy. Maybe 5 years. Like, we were separated and then we got divorced later, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah. And what was the second part of the question? I can't remember.
No, the reason why, well, I asked how old were you, and the other reason, I forgot the other question, but the reason why I asked that was because of, you know, the mind does not fully develop until you're 26. So there's a lot of, like, the fact that you got married at 19, the fact that I think Van was talking about, did you say you got divorced at 26 or got married at 26?
I got married at 26.
Okay, so your brain was just, you know, so I went to school for psychology. I'm not saying I'm a psychologist or anything, but like with me, like I got married at 30. So I was kind of already set in my ways, but willing to compromise under the idea of, or under the instruction of, you know, the wife is supposed to be submissive to the husband. But the reason why I asked those questions was because, did you feel like there was a tug of war on your values going into that marriage?
If I had to be honest,
please do. That's what this is all about.
I had no intentions on getting married at 26. I had no intentions. All right. Matter of fact, me and my first wife, we actually got married twice. We got married the first time was because I had became fully immersed into church and understanding what God's plan was for me, right? And in order for me to get the fullness of what he was trying to do with me, I had to stop living in sin. I'm just gonna call it what it is. I had to stop living in sin. So I had made a commitment to him. I said, okay, I said, God, I said, I'm gonna do it right. So literally one day after church, we got home and I told her, I said, we need to go get married. I was like, we have a whole date planned for next year. I said, no, we need to do it now. And she was looking at me all crazy, like, what is wrong with you? Why we got to do it? I said, because God said that we need to do it now. And she had been married before. So she was like, you know what? Okay. All right.
She submitted. She compromised.
She did. Yeah. And we got her dad, my dad, minister, her mom, and we had a small ceremony, small intimate ceremony. And we actually kept it away from our family because we didn't want to spoil the wedding that we had planned. So I was not ready to do that. However, the blessings that awarded me after, even though it ended in divorce, the blessings that God has showed me over that time was immeasurable. And do I regret it? No, because the level of experience that I gained from that union, being a husband, I have no doubt in my mind that I was not meant to be a husband. If you ask me, I would tell you I was a husband for 20 years because I was. Once I got divorced from my first wife, I got married to my second wife because I knew that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be married. The problem is I didn't survey the right women for marriage because there are women out here who want to be married, who believe that, like my grandmother told me, she said, baby, you get married one time. You do it one time. And that's it. You fight it out with that person. You do whatever you got to do to make sure that y'all stay married. And when I got that divorce, I cried like a baby. Because I didn't honor what she told me I needed to do. And that hurt me immensely.
So you struggled with the idea of failure?
I did. I struggle with it now. I've had the only successful relationship I have is with God.
That's deep.
To some degree, I have failed every single relationship I have, even with my kids. Even with my kids. Granted, mind you, I am ever present, and my kids, I will fight their mother's tooth and nail if they ever try to take my kids from me. I don't play that. But because of those divorces, there is a failure there that failed them. Whether it was my choice or not.
I mean, my second wife, she lost herself. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And within losing herself and couldn't find herself, and I tried to give the assistance, the alley-oop was saying, hey, look at it from this aspect and look at it from this. But, you know, sometimes when too many people are in your ears, you kind of get lost in the mist. You know what I mean? And that's when they say people, places, and things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like, yo, you lucked out. You know what I mean? So then when we started moving in different directions after the divorce and stuff, you know, I guess I was supposed to walk around with my head down and everything like that. I still shine like the morning sun. And she became angry about that. You know, like, oh, look at him, this, that, and the other. But then you got the spectators. You know what I mean? But my thing was, I didn't have no beef with her. We ain't had no beef. You know what I'm saying? So, but when you have other people putting their energy into you and making things more complicated than it's not really is, that's a problem. So she had to finally go somewhere and fix her own self. You know what I mean? I was good money. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I ain't had no beef, nothing. And it was just like, wow, like, really? Like, you really gonna destroy yourself? You sabotage yourself. And then at that, I later found out she had regrets about the marriage. You know what I mean? I meant the divorce. But ain't no coming back. You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, you laid out the foundation of what you wanted to do, how you wanted to be. So I gave you what you wanted. You know what I mean? Here you go. So, you know, at the same time, you just always got to communicate and learn from one another and just see what it is there to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's why I always say about no expectations, because she ain't had no expectations in the beginning of the marriage and everything like that. But like I said, too much of this with people in your ear. You know what I mean? She had it golden. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to say about myself like that, but I gave her a lot. You know what I mean? That no other dude ever gave her. You know what I mean? Even in her first marriage, you know what I'm saying? But I was just like, yo, you really up. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't saying I wasn't the bad guy in a lot of it, but it takes two to tangle. But I gave you a lot that others have not ever given you. You know what I'm saying? I gave you the richness from my heart. You know what I mean? So,
so I got a question.
Go ahead.
Yeah. I'm sorry. My brain is just going. So, do you guys feel like the dating length strengthens the marriage length?
No.
What? I don't agree with that.
I don't think so.
What strengthens, to be honest with you, what strengthens the marriage length is how deep is your friendship with each other.
Right.
That, because if you are best friends, you know, we always say, so I want to marry my best friend. Well, the sad reality is that is a very true statement, because there will be times where your marriage union will be on the rocks, and you have to lean on the friendship component that you have. Because as my best friend, I have two best friends, male and female, two. My female best friend, we have been best friends since we were 14 years old. A male best friend since we were 14 years old. We can have disagreements, we can have arguments, but it's not changing the dynamic of our friendship because of our disagreement and because of our argument. And if we can remember that in our marriages, the disagreements and arguments as friends, we can come back from that. You know, I think one of the hardest things to come back from is infidelity. That is the hardest thing to come back. It's certainly possible, as long as you're willing to put in the work. Because once there's infidelity, there's a trust factor that's broken.
Right.
And if you want to restore, you have to be willing to satisfy whatever trust component your spouse or partner needs at that moment until they are comfortable with whatever interaction you have going on outside of them. But we always hear a woman she'll forgive infidelity faster than a man. Well, I've done it twice, both marriages, both. Why? Because I love them more than the infidelity.
Ladies,
I was waiting for Carmen to say something. I know
floor is yours, Carmen.
she's sitting on a lot of stuff.
I know. Let it out, girl. You know what I mean?
I don't even know where to start, but
take it from the
I
top.
don't know. It's like, what is the right way? You know what I'm saying? Like we say like, you know, I want to do it the right way. But what way is right? Because what's right for that marriage might not be right for this marriage.
True
Right.
facts. True facts.
True.
I mean, where do we go from here? You know what I'm saying? It's like, you know, but that's why I think it's important, because I had to go back. Okay, I had to go back in my mind because I was dating other, you know, after my marriage and all of that, just relationships in general. Like, why did I pick this person? Because, you know what I'm saying? What? All right, let me go back. And let me go all the way back to my very first little boyfriend. Mm-hmm. And bring myself back to that state that I was in. And I can pinpoint every last one of my relationships, boyfriend, whatever, why I got with him. You know what I'm saying? But it took me going back and asking myself and being honest with myself and stop pointing the finger, because we all make decisions.
Right.
You know, so I don't know. It's a lot to it.
But that's true though. You know what I'm saying? A lot of times if you travel back in time, you can pinpoint certain things and move across different avenues of whatever it is that you didn't see with this person or that person. You know what I mean? Sometimes you'll see the pattern. You'll be like, oh, yes. Oh, wait a minute.
Yeah.
That's where that strong intuition comes in at. You know, not everybody's bad and nothing like that, but you know, you got to navigate around what is and what isn't. Right. You know, it makes, but the true thing is that communication, the trust, and like Poe said, the friendship, that bond. You know, if you have a strong enough bond, you can have a disagreement and you can connect right back together. Right. You know what I mean?
Right.
And so, you know, everybody needs to understand that disagreements are healthy in a relationship.
Yes.
It's how you handle them.
Facts.
It's how you handle them. It would be preposterous to think that you're going to agree on everything all the time. Prime example. Babe, what do you want to eat tonight? I want Chinese. Oh, well, I want Mexican. All right. Let's do both.
Facts.
Let's do both. I can find something on the Mexican menu that I'll eat. You can find something on the Chinese menu you can eat. Let's do both. But let's not get into a heated argument about it. But then every time I turn around, you want Chinese. Well, every time I turn around, you want Mexican. Why? Why can't we just have something simple? Why we got to do this? Why we got to do it your way all the time? Why it's got to be your way all the time? As you can see, I've been through this before.
That's pettiness. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Right.
At a high degree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Yeah. You know, disagreements are healthy. Arguments are healthy. It's how you deal with them, which determines the outcome the expected, we talk about expectations, the expected outcome, right? Because at the end of the day, I don't care if we're in a relationship, baby, we are not going to bed angry. Ain't no way in hell we going to bed angry. Forget that. I'm not going to turn my back to you. You're not going to turn your back to me. We're going to hash this out so we can sleep peacefully at night. Because we do that too much. I ain't talking to him. I ain't talking to her. I'm going to go to bed. Well, I'm going to go to bed. And then y'all wake up and it festers after all night, you sleeping in your nocturnal state. Now you're in the REM stage. You done had some bad dream and you waking up and you mad at him still. You mad at her still because y'all in your pride. Y'all refuse.
But bro,
refuse.
But also, bro, it's the tone of your voice when coming across to the other person.
Absolutely.
That tone, the way your suggestive thoughts, you know what I mean? It's all of that in a nutshell, like, or body language, you know, it's all these different variations of communication and stuff like that can really either keep everything steady or it can have things become rocky.
I'm gonna tell you, man, one of the things that most women would say about me is in times of serious moments, I will always be the playful one. I will always be joking about it. And it's not that because it's not serious, it's that I don't want it to get so elevated and so heated that we are truly at a point where we want to kill each other. Because, man, I had one of my wives pull out a knife for me because I kept agitating her. I walked right up to her and I said, babe, if you want to do it, go ahead and do it. Go ahead, do it. Do it. She's like, you crazy. I said, I know. I said, but you didn't marry me because I wasn't crazy.
See, I think that if you get to the point where you want to put hands on somebody, it's time to go. It's just time to go.
I agree with that. I agree with that wholeheartedly. I do not agree with domestic violence situation. I've been in domestic violence where I was the one that had to protect myself, not for one of my wives now. She will remain nameless. But when I tell you she fought like a boxer, and she was heavy-handed, bruh. You talking about somebody that had to throw up the dukes almost every other day just because she wasn't feeling right that day. She remained nameless though. But no. If ladies and gentlemen, if you are in a relationship that is physically abusive, get out. Right. Whatever you need to do to get, I don't care if it's a marriage. I don't care. Get out. Your life is far more important than you ending up 6 feet under. Get out.
And
there
also,
are many ways to get out of it. If you don't know, you can reach out to any one of us. We can put you in some directions to help you get out. I do not agree with physical violence in any relationship.
And also, if you break up, you know what I mean, there's a reason for that.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to be a Debbie Downer. You don't have to be mad, pissed off, aggravated. Just know that it was time to go. Like, this just isn't our thing. Right. You know? Right. Just part ways, you know what I'm saying, equally, and just keep it moving. You know what I mean?
And just to piggyback on what Van was saying in regards to domestic violence, it doesn't always have to be physical either. It could be, a whole bunch of, mental, it could be monetary, it could be a whole bunch of stuff. With the line of work that I do, like I know where the safe houses are for, women and men. I have had men call me distraught because they have been physically abused by their wives. Yes. I've had women call me distraught because they have been physically or financially abused by their husbands. And it's like you said, when it gets to that level of unhealthy living, you got to part ways. Absolutely. Especially if, offsprings are involved.
Absolutely.
Then you just got to reinvent yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Be strong at the wheel when you're driving and riding. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's going to be all right. Always. For sure.
For sure.
You know what I'm saying? Ain't no father greater than the highest father. You know what I mean?
To that.
So the creator is right there. Stay prayed up. But hey, that's where it's at, Carmen.
Yes. And that's why it's important to learn your triggers, because I was in one of my situations, I got so mad. I had to like learn to control myself. I knew, I was like, you know what? It's just, it was toxic. Mm-hmm. But then I asked myself, you know, do I attract certain type of people and why? And you know, I started noticing that I had triggers. And I had to go back. That's childhood traumas and, you know, things like that. Just, you know, it's so important to get to know yourself, period. Who better to know than you? You're the coolest person in the world. That's what I think.
Know yourself as well as know the other person.
Yep. Man.
I don't do the cray-cray.
You know, it depends.
But I'm not even going to say crazy. You know what I'm saying? That's just sound malice.
It depends on what kind of crazy we're talking about, right?
You know what I'm saying?
Because I make a joke all the time. You know, women with multiple personalities.
Unstableness.
Right? Unstableness, multiple personalities. I'm like, that's a challenge. You know, that might be fun. Let me figure out which personality I'm dealing with today. Let's have some fun. You know, but if you're a man and you take on that, you take on a woman that's going through any type of mental issue, bruh, please understand what you sign up for.
Right.
Understand what you are signing up for. If that means if you are that vested in that woman and you want to be with her, how about studying what condition she has? Right. How to be an assistant in her condition. You know, don't just think that just because you like her, she look good, you want to get between her legs. Come on, bro. If you want to be with her, study her. But study what she has been through so you know how you can help her and not put her through it again.
Hey, ladies.
Dynamics,
man. You know
there's more depth to a woman than her walls.
Yeah, well, look, ladies.
Mentally, spiritually, physically.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And the other thing that ladies you have to do, it's okay to be transparent with a man. It's okay to let him know what he's signing up for. Don't spring it on him later and expect him to be okay, right? One thing about us as men is we have been bred and been taught not to open up to y'all. Why? Because we don't want to seem like we're weak. Yeah. We're always supposed to be strong. Always. That's like my daddy now. My daddy's 65 years old, got all kinds of health issues. I've never seen him weak like this. I've always seen him strong. But I'm going to tell you, I've been through a lot. I'm going to tell you what I've been through. And at that point, once I tell you what I've been through, you have to make the conscious decision whether or not you want to ride or you want to get off.
Do you think it's wise to, like, say you're dating, right? You're dating somebody. Because a lot of times, I've done this too, but a lot of females I know do this. We tell all the bad that has happened to us. You know what I'm saying? Like, this person did this and this person did that. But we don't realize that we're showing them, we're showing them a side that they don't really need to know right now, because I think that we do it too soon. I think that we expose too much of the hurt too soon, because not every man, but some men can play off of that, and women too. It goes both ways.
Yeah, people.
In general,
you know what I mean, right?
I mean, there's a time for everything. So our first date, I don't want to hear nothing about your damn exes
at all.
I want to hear about you.
Right.
I want to know you. All that stuff about your exes, that stuff can come later if we're going to continue this. Because after that first date determines whether or not there's going to be a second date. Mm-hmm. And if all we're doing is talking about your exes on the first date, that lets you know all I'm hearing about is your exes throughout this whole time that we're together. Mm. That's what I'm going to hear. And I'm not going to want to hear that. Is it important? Absolutely. Anything that has happened to you in your past is important.
Right.
But you have to remind yourself when is the appropriate time to talk about it. Hey, maybe that's something to talk about on your first date. you know what? I've been through some trauma. I've been through some things. If we make it to a second date, when do you think we should talk about those things? It's okay to put that on the table. But again, we've forgotten how to communicate with one another. We forgot. Why? Because we are in so much competition with each other that we don't know how to talk to each other.
And at the same time, Paul, you know what I'm saying? A lot of times we have to move past that. You know what I'm saying? If that's something that's stuck on you, whether it's a man with a backpack of emotions and stuff, or a woman out there with a purse full of problems, you know what I'm saying? You gotta get rid of that. You know what I mean? You gotta find a way to get rid of that. Talk to somebody. There's always somebody that you can speak with about it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Don't be like, oh, I got it figured out, but then you still out there with that purse full of problems, or the dude out there with that backpack full of issues.
Because you know what? Because it's hard. It's hard to build with someone if you're carrying around all of this stuff and you have nowhere to unload it. If I can't be there for you to unload, then what good am I here for? Right. You know, when I talk about competition with each other, right? In today's society, we are competing with who is running the household, who is the breadwinner, who's making the most money, who's doing X, Y, Z for family or for friends. Listen, our relationship should not be a competition.
Right.
The only time we're competing is if we're playing games.
That's true though. You know what I mean?
You know,
we gotta be equaled out.
Listen. First of all, if I was dating a woman and she was making more money than me, guess what? That means I need to step my game up. I need to learn from her how she is able to make so much money and what pointers can she give me instead of being scared. Oh, she got my lead. What?
Gotta just do your thing. Elevate.
Out my league. I'm an alpha male. She is not out my league. Right. But she can show me how she's able to make so much money. Because, baby, I want to be on that ship. I want to be on that train. What did you do? How did you do this? How did you get from point A to point B? She ain't gonna be making more money than me for long. That's a fact. But
go ahead, Car.
Does it matter? Does that bother you if a woman makes more money than, or not you in general? Does it bother
the male species?
Listen, don't bother me. I hold my own.
It only bothers the male species when she lets him know consistently that she does.
Facts.
So when it becomes degrading.
Yeah.
Trying to break a brother down.
Absolutely. And one of the things that will absolutely destroy a marriage is finances.
That's true.
Will destroy it. Because if you don't have a healthy conversation about your finances and what we're doing, it will destroy you. Because too many times it's the husband hiding money, you know, the wife hiding money, during the courtship phase, is holding back information can be perceived as not being honest. It can be depending on the nature of the conversation and the questions being asked.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that's key, because this is an exploratory phase for both of us. This first date is designed for us to ask questions, and if you're answering the question and then withholding information from the question that's being asked, that's not being honest. Carmen, what you think?
Can you repeat the question, please?
The question is do you? There you go.
Okay. Be perceived as not being honest. No, it's a time and a place. You know, I don't think everything should be indulged. What's the word I'm looking for?
Put on the table.
Put on the table. Not everything all It just takes time. It takes time.
Now,
So
come. Baby.
Yeah.
You can't tell a man that you the whole table, and then when he asking everything to be put on the table, then you want to not put everything on the table.
Well, bro, you ain't gotta put everything. Don't have to be put on the table, though.
Everything's everybody. Like I don't because that's not you guys are courting at this point.
But listen to the question. He said during the courtship phase. This is not just one date.
Excuse me.
Listen, this is the courtship phase. This is where I'm digging you, I'm feeling you, and I'm courting you to become my wife. During this courtship phase, are we putting everything on the table during the courtship phase? Hey man, don't tell me that you got a fifth kid running around here that you ain't taking care of.
Oh yeah, that part.
You know what I'm saying? Because I know exactly how many kids I got. I know where they all at, and I take care of every single one of them without nobody's help. But 2 months, 3 months down the line, I got a 6th kid running around, and I ain't told you about. You're gonna have a problem with that.
I'm definitely gonna have a
That's
problem.
right. I got 5 kids, and I ain't proud. I'm proud to say I got 5 beautiful kids.
You know that I feel like that process is like chutes and ladders, you know what I mean? But a conversation should be displayed upon in that phase. You know what I'm saying? Have that conversation, talk about things and whatnot, and bring things to the light.
Listen,
you know what I mean? So
don't you have a Mr. Courtright? That's right. I watched the Family That Prays. Don't you have a Mr. Courtright? You got this hidden bank account with all this money in it that I don't know nothing about.
Yeah, so
now that's a real point right there, especially depending on how long the courtship phase lasts. You know what?
True facts.
I don't even know how long the courtship phase lasts. I'm gonna tell you like this. If you're courting, right, and you know you in love with that person, I mean, you know, I am in love with her. Ooh, I'm in love with him. What we still courting for? Let's go ahead and make this thing official. Let me go ahead and get this ring. Let me take you off the market. Let me let everybody know that I'm off the market.
Right.
So in the midst of that courtship, you start to get invited to meet the family.
Lord have mercy.
Right?
Meet the Browns.
Right. Meet the Browns, meet the family. However, you know, you also start to do your little research. Like, you sit down with Mom Dukes. You sit down with the sisters. You sit down with the brothers. You know what I mean? Like, you start to learn things. Isn't that the purpose of courtship? To like really learn if you want to be with this person and go into the next phase. So even in conversation with the family, okay, we found out somebody got a kid. Okay, boom, whatever. But what about learning about the family dynamics and how it's going to affect the marriage, how it's going to affect the parenting, how it's going to affect the finances. Now, could it be a red flag that you look over because you're so infatuated with this party? Like, it's a lot to take into consideration. And Poet is just giving all the tea tonight. Like, I just wanted to like put it out there because there's so many different ways to look at, you know, once you become a fiance or once you become the title of a girlfriend or a boyfriend. So why do we say damn red flags? Because you're so infatuated, or you're
you got blindsided when I, you know what I'm saying? It's like a dead fog lights when I, you know what I'm saying?
Or the family, if you sit there and you chat with the family, not saying that this happened with my situation, but like you could sit there and chop it up with the family and they're loyal to their person, you know what I mean? And they be like, yeah, we're not going to share that.
You wound up getting finessed.
Right, totally finessed. You might, you know, they may have longevity of abusers, or they may, you know what I mean, or somebody is hooked up with the mafia. Like you never know these things.
I mean, all right.
Go ahead, man. I see it's burning you up tonight.
If I love you, I can meet your family all I want. It's not going to change how I feel about you. It's going to change how much we interact with your family. Mm-hmm. Like I'm not marrying your family. I'm marrying you. Your family is an extension of you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I'm not marrying them. I'm marrying you. Mm-hmm. Like, if family dinners are happening every Sunday and I choose not to go on this particular Sunday, yeah, we can talk about why I'm not going. But the reality is yes, you can learn a lot from the family dynamic of the person that you're with. You just don't do what they do. You create your own family dynamic. You say, babe, my family does this, but I really don't like when they do that. Mm-hmm. And we make sure that we don't do this. That's all part of that communication.
True.
You gotta have those conversations.
But you know, the biggest one too is, as they had inside the chat, what have you learned from the past relationships?
People ain't perfect. You're not perfect.
And in more the words for me, as the Force MD said, float on.
For me, one thing that I learned about me from being a husband both times is I neglected myself. As a man, I neglected myself. I stopped doing the things that I like for the sake of the family dynamic, to make sure that I'm always providing. I'm always protecting. I'm always the priest of my home. I neglected what I like. So what I learned is I still like being me. And if you cannot understand that I like these things, that these things are a part of me, these are my makeup, there's no need for us to proceed further. There's no need. But I told myself that I will never, ever again neglect me, no matter what relationship dynamic I get into. I'm not neglecting me ever again, because I understand that if I'm happy, everybody will be happy.
I've learned that too. That's what I learned. I used to, I'm the type of person, I'll give myself I forget, what I like to do because I want to make everyone else happy. So I learned that about myself. Like, same thing. It's important to make yourself happy because,
that's right. Self-love.
Self-love.
That's right. Self-care. You gotta hit that mark. You know what I mean? It's all about you. You know what I'm saying? Heal within your inner self. Just remember, this is our armor. You know what I'm saying? So we can't have any type of energy disrupting the spirit that is cased underneath, which is leading to the soul. You know what I mean? Right. So we gotta present ourselves to be a defender, you know what I'm saying, of our inner being. You know what I mean? So hey, you know what I'm saying? Watch that energy out there. You know what I'm saying? Protect yourself at all times. Don't be overprotective, but just protect yourself. Use your eyes. Yeah. Use your third eye. You know what I mean? Mind over matter.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And pay attention to how you feel on the inside. Like, you know your vibes. We all got, we all have energy. So if you know that something that doesn't hit you right, address it. I don't think that you don't have to stay in a situation that's going to make you uneasy. You don't. Mm-hmm. So it's good to get to this. It is.
True indeed. So, anybody got any last words for people in the chat out there in the Poetry Corner universe? Eastside Connection.
I had a poem that I was going to read, but I'll save that for tomorrow because I know the hour has been far spent.
No, I don't have anything else to say. I enjoyed it though. I'm nervous. I'm usually a talker, but this conversation was necessary. It was good. I enjoyed it. And hopefully, it's all about healing and growth and being honest, especially being honest with yourself first.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
Right. Definitely enjoyed this.
Yeah, definitely was healing.
I would just say this. No two people are the same. You know what you like. You know what you're attracted to. You know what attracts you. Um, just be mindful before you decide to become a fiance that you're ready for that marriage step, so that you don't end up in the divorce step. I mean, it's pretty simple. It's marriage is hard work. Don't let anybody tell you that it's easy. It's not. It's hard work.
Right.
But if your desire is to have that, marital counseling for sure. Put everything out on the table. Be selfless. Communicate. Compromise. Be happy with yourself. Any woman I date and she tells me that she's not happy, or I meet and they want to date and she tell me she's not happy with herself, guess what? I can't make you happy. I am an added component to the happiness that you already have. So that's all I got.
That's great. This was great. I hope this really helps somebody.
Does anyone want to get married again?
That was a question that I was actually going to pose tonight. I was going to ask, not about getting married again, but I was going to ask, when is the appropriate time frame post-divorce to re-engage in dating and all the above?
I would say it's good whenever you're ready.
It took me some time to decide that I actually wanted to date officially again. My daughter she's 11 now. She was 7 or 8. She says to me, "Daddy, are you going to get another family?" I said, "Baby," I said, "No." I said, "I got to worry about the family that I have, my kids." I said, "Y'all are my family. I have to worry about you guys." She says to me, "Daddy, it's okay. If you want to get another family, it's okay." And to this day, because I have to be mindful of who I bring around my kids. And I have to make sure that you're going to be there long term, because my kids are older and they become attached. And they'll let me know, "Daddy, no." But when you are ready, when you feel that you are ready, when you feel that you are healed, that's the key. When you are healed from the trauma that broke you, then you're ready. Seriously.
I agree.
All right. That's what's up. Hey, it's been great having this conversation tonight. You know what I mean? I'm glad everybody could tune in. I know y'all could be doing something different out there in the world, but you tuned in to the Poetry Corner Eastside Connection. Click like and subscribe to the channel. I'd like to thank our beautiful guests, Carmen and Sister Monet. It's been beautiful. You're welcome, man. Poe, you got any last words, Poe?
No, man, I'm excited. I can't wait till next week's show, y'all. Make sure y'all tune in. Click like, subscribe, and share. If you enjoyed this conversation, we enjoyed the interaction from y'all out there who's just watching. Hey, maybe next week y'all want to, maybe you want to get in. Maybe you want to join us on the panel. I mean, we love to have you.
Holla.
I promise next week we're going to do some poetry. I promise.
We got
2 weeks. No poetry.
Hey, we in the shop. We in the shop. You know what I mean?
But we just felt that someone needed this conversation more than the poetry.
Facts.
I sure know I needed it. Lord knows.
Hey, you know what I mean? We here. We here for the people, and that's what we do. Do what it do. So I'm gonna say, as I always say, tune in next week.
Yes.
Peace, love, and poetry. We out.